I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 33. Let's focus on verses 8 through 10. So Esau said, "What do you mean by this whole procession I met? To find favor with you, my lord," Jacob answered. "I have enough, my brother," Esau replied. "Keep what you have." But Jacob said, "No, please, if I have found favor with you, take this gift from my hand. For indeed I have seen your face, and it's like seeing God's face since you have accepted me." Genesis 33, verses 8 through 10. It's a beautiful thing when brothers reconcile. Jacob rejoiced that the Lord had brought Esau and him back together, once estranged and now one. You know, the Hebrew word for one is echad. And it's a word that the Lord uses to describe himself. Consider Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. In Hebrew, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, one. For Jacob, seeing Esau was like seeing God. Not that Esau looked anything like God. It's just that when he saw Esau, he knew that only God could have accomplished such a reunion. And Jesus wants for us to have that same oneness with each other, as he has with the Father and the Holy Spirit. Consider Jesus' prayer in John 17 after the Last Supper, John 17, verse 21 through 23. "May they all be one, echad," you see, "as you, Father, are in me and I am in you. May they also be one in us, so the world may believe you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you have given me. May they be one as we are one. I am in them and you are in me. And may they be made completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them as you loved me." The subject of the Messiah's prayer was echad, unity among his Father, himself, and of course, the Holy Spirit. And his disciples and all the believers would follow after. It was extremely important to Jesus to communicate that, as he is echad with the other persons of the Trinity, that his children are also to be echad with him and each other. And it is speculated by certain rabbis that Esau came out in force to destroy his brother, but that the Lord changed Esau's heart. And if that is so, it was not because of Esau's goodness or Jacob's ingratiating march home with all these gifts. It was just a thing that the Lord did. Notice that Esau's reaction to Jacob was in accordance with God's promise to Jacob while he was still working for Laban. You remember it back in Genesis 31, verse 3? It was so long ago, just 2 days ago. He says, "Go back to the land of your fathers and to your family, and I will be with you." Also important to note in this chapter is the difference between the brothers' definition of blessing. Esau's notion of blessing was purely material. His anger over Jacob stealing Abraham's blessing had more to do with his anxiety over the prospects of enduring a future void of wealth and lifestyle. But once Esau was rich, he could care less about the birthright or the Lord or the land of Canaan. He wasn't even living there. Sadly, many within the church solely equate God's blessing with the acquisition of worldly objects and amenities. And this perspective often keeps them from leaving the stuff in order to follow God's calling, even into difficulty. They simply cannot imagine blessing without earthly possessions. Jacob's biggest lesson is more closely linked to the birthright that he purchased from Esau for that bowl of stew. Remember? The birthright was the right to lead spiritually, to lead the family. And once Jacob experienced God's miraculous promise fulfilled, well, then he finally learned the differences between blessing and wealth, and between joy and happiness. Have you found them? Because they can only be found in Jesus. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.